Now Carlton, London today with Lucy Alexander.
On London today, dealing with the drugs menace. Police get tough on the addicts who target the capital's commuters to fund their habits. Also ahead, a fight for justice. 16 years after a holiday tragedy, an Essex mother takes her long battle for compensation back to the Spanish authorities. Plus, the great canine cleanup. Dog owners are warned to bag it and bin it to keep our parks safe. And a great escape for mums on the run. The hotel that helps mothers find tranquility with their toddlers. Good afternoon and welcome to the programme. Addicts injecting on the underground and drug users targeting commuters to help fund their habit. This morning, police have been painting a depressing and frightening picture of a subculture operating in and around London's Victoria line. Today, they launched a week-long operation to crack down on the drug users and their crime-related activities at Victoria Station. Well, our reporter Damon Green is at Victoria now. Damon.
Well, Lucy, as we speak, the first plainclothes patrols have gone on board the train between Victoria and Brixton. It's in response to a growing number of complaints of drug use and drug dealing on the tubes and on the trains. It would seem that the drug dealers and users have found the trains a very convenient place to do their business. Well, the police have had enough of this, of these kind of sites, and they decided to crack down with Operation Privet, a 7-day operation starting today. A few minutes ago, I spoke to the man in charge of that operation, and this is how he explained it to me.
We're hoping to make a visible impact, so uniform patrols is the key here. People will be at Victoria and at Brixton at both tube and rail stations. They'll be travelling on both tube and rail trains to make sure that we're seen, that they don't travel without paying their fare, that they're orderly here at the station and on the trains, and that the passengers see that we're there to assist them.
And Damon, there is a much wider problem, isn't there, related to the whole drugs culture?
Well, that's true. I mean, it's bad enough seeing people dealing and taking drugs on your train in the morning, but there are other problems associated with this. There's aggressive begging, there's theft, shoplifting, even muggings, and those are the crimes the police really want to target. Now, they'll have many people in plain clothes on the trains and in the stations. They'll have CCTV inside and outside the stations. They're hoping to make a lot of arrests this week, and what's more, they're hoping to use bail conditions to stop these people from coming back.
It's a big operation, isn't it? The police are taking this quite seriously.
Well, they are. It's a very high-profile operation for British Transport Police. They've taken the rather unusual step of publicising it before it's even started. Now, you might wonder why they've done that. It might seem that they've lost the element of surprise in these people on the trains, but as far as they're concerned, whatever it takes to keep these people off and keep them from committing their crimes in public, that's fine by them. Lucy, back to you.
Thank you very much. Airports in the capital are preparing for the busiest period of the year as the holiday season gets into full swing. But as tourists leave for the sun, a warning note's being sounded by campaigners concerned about safety standards abroad. Among them, a mother from Essex whose son died and whose daughter was left in a coma after being gassed 16 years ago. Marcus Powell reports on her very long fight for justice.
Sherry May has spent 16 years struggling to overcome her disability while her mother fights the Spanish courts for compensation. Sherry was left in a coma for 5 months and totally paralysed for a year when she was gassed by a faulty water heater in their holiday flat in Tenerife. Her brother Gary died. Since then, the family have rejected one offer of compensation of £70,000 from the Spanish Gas Board. They say it was completely inadequate for Sherry's needs. Now mum's off to the Supreme Court in Spain in the hope of a better settlement.
Not a day that goes easier for me. Every day is full of humiliation, embarrassment, degradation, something you have to learn to live with.
She needs the money for extra care and physiotherapy to help keep her mobile and learn to walk, something she believes she could do with constant care and attention, but the family resources have run out. So her mum, who's set up a charity for accident victims, Consumer Safety International, flies to Madrid tomorrow to find out just when the case will be considered.
The only exercise that Sherry gets is what I can give her. We have physio couch, exercise machines, K-walkers, but she needs somebody with her to do that, and it's just what I can do. And I'm not getting any younger, so it's quite tough doing it, and she gets 1 hour a week. Well, of course she needs much, much more, and who knows, she may progress again like she did when we had, you know, money, and we used to spend a lot of it on Sherry.
They fear time's running out for Sherry as her back is starting to seize up and she urgently needs more care. In Ilford, this is Marcus Powell for London Today.
Poor girl. Stephanie Trotter is the Vice President of Consumer Safety International. That's a campaign group which Molly Maher, which is Cherie's mother, helped to set up. Thank you very much for coming in, Stephanie. What happened to the Maher family was terrible. They fought for 16 years in the courts. Could happen to anyone. What do you want to do about that?
Well, we'd very much like to see an independent body set up and funded by the tour operators to make sure there's an independent helpline, and also there's a body that receives all the phone calls, find out where the problems are, and actually presses for improvements in safety standards.
What sort of problems can you see abroad? What sort of problems do you find?
Well, everything from carbon monoxide poisoning, which was what happened to Gary and Sherry, to pools with sudden changes of depth, or diving boards into far too shallow pools, or balconies that are just really rickety or far too low.
Are people in a very blasé frame of mind when they go on holiday? Do they not look out for these sorts of...
I'm afraid that's the problem. I mean, they're sold a dream, which sounds wonderful, but people really should heed to the point that when you go abroad, things are different. The country's different, you don't speak the language, everything's unfamiliar. And do take care. Swimming pools particularly are a real danger to children. This sudden change of depth, very often the accidents occur when the wife's upstairs unpacking and the husband is there in charge of 2 small children. Everybody's tired and fractious.
Yeah, I suppose a lot of people think we're in Europe. Surely in Europe we've all got equal standards.
Well, absolutely, and I think standards should be improved, and that's why we so want funding for a decent independent body.
But if the airlines, the air operators get involved in this watchdog, surely that's going to put up prices for people going on holiday in the end.
Well, a tiny bit, perhaps £1 a trip, but what's that for actual safety and for peace of mind?
The other thing you're saying, obviously, is your insurance.
Yes, we're very keen on people taking out insurance for their medical needs, and also to make sure that they are covered if they do need to sue the tour operator.
But the important thing is that the insurance is separate from the... You don't buy your insurance from the tour operator.
We would very much prefer it if people bought their own insurance, because the tour operator's insurance tends to be very pricey, and also it doesn't always cover, well, it usually doesn't in our opinion, suing the tour operator.
Right.
And these days you don't have to sue the Spanish hotelier over the, you know, you might have fallen off their balcony. You can actually sue your tour operator in this country, which makes life a lot easier for you.
I suppose there's a bit of a conflict of interest there between the operator and the insurance company.
Well, of course, and that is why the tour operator's rep often is too young and also has an interest in making sure you don't gather the evidence.
Yeah. Stephanie, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Now, some do, but a lot don't. Today, those dog owners who don't clean up after their dogs have been receiving a gentle lesson in canine etiquette. Members of the National Canine Defence League have been out and about in a North London park this morning, reminding people to pick up after their pooches. Our reporter Sarah Smith joined them.
One of the best views in London. And here are the team aiming to help you enjoy it without stepping in anything you'll regret.
Today's about encouraging responsible dog ownership. We are the Pooper Troopers. We're hiking up and down Primrose Hill Park, talking to all of the dog owners today to make sure that they do their business and make sure they clear up after their dogs every single time.
And here on Primrose Hill, they had plenty of support for their task.
We walk to school through the park every day, and we always come across somewhere. And it is, I mean, it's pretty revolting, and you know, they tread in it. We get to school, we've got to spend half an hour trying to get it off their shoes.
I quite often see people just with really large dogs and not cleaning up after them, and I think it's incredible, especially if it's like on the path.
The kids playing in the grass, they, you know, they often come home with dog muck, and that's horrible.
The park is a haven for dogs and owners, beautiful views and plenty of grass to run around on. And there are plenty of bins to put in what you pick up. When nobody's looking, though, some owners still let the side down. It all contributes to the 140,000 tonnes of dog waste left on our streets and in our parks every year. But local authorities are toughening up. Last year, 6,000 people were fined under the Dogs Fouling of Land Act. And judging by the number of people today already armed with bags and scoops, people are getting the message.
This is the second time we've held this event, National Poop Scooper event. The NCDL are are encouraging people every year, more and more of them, to pick up after their dogs. It is part of their responsibility, after all, to make sure that that happens, and the message is getting across.
With a £1,000 fine possible if you don't pick up, it's worth keeping to the Canine Defence League slogan, just bag it and bin it. On Primrose Hill, this is Sarah Smith for London Today.
And go back to eating your lunch now. Now, time for a break. When we come back, a pregnant pause. Find out how the capital's mothers have found maternal bliss at this hotel. Plus, parakeet power, the exotic birds getting a Surrey neighbourhood in a complete flap.